You are now competing against the likes of Uber and Ola for mobility. So what are you guys trying to do at BluSmart to enter into this competitive industry? Because business principle states that, if it's a red ocean, don't get into it. This is sort of like a red ocean in the mobility industry in the country. But you guys went in and now you guys are thriving. How did you guys do that?
I think the opportunity was massive when we entered and we were entering. The idea was very simple. We saw that the challenges that the customers were facing were not being addressed by both the incumbents, the two giants, mighty Ola and Uber. They are great services. I think they are great companies. They've done a lot for the country, providing mobility to everyone. But they could not really do something about the customer experience.
Yeah.
And that actually hemmed from the fact that Uber, as a business model, if you see, is a mobility giant born in the US. In the US, Sharan, the automobile market size is $2 trillion. India's GDP is $4 trillion. So half of India's GDP is the automobile market opportunity in the US. And the asset ownership in the US is about 800 cars per 1,000 people. Our neighbor China has about 275 cars per 1,000 people. India has about 40 cars per 1,000 people.
Really?
Largely, it's a two-wheeler and three-wheeler market. 80% of India moves on two-wheelers and three-wheelers, and the asset ownership per 1,000 people is less than 4%. That number was less than 2%, became 3%. India is growing now, GDP is growing, people have more disposable income, discretionary spending. So that number has become 40 cars per 1,000 people. You see a lot of cars in Bangalore, Hyderabad, Delhi NCR, Calcutta, Chennai. But if you go to tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 cities, you will see that people normally prefer two-wheelers and three-wheelers.
Yeah.
So when we were looking at the supply side model of Uber, we saw that they will not be able to add cars on the platform. It's a huge challenge. Their ability to add cars on the platform is dependent on driver partners. And a driver partner comes from a very poor background. A driver has to really buy a car, get it at a very high financing cost, then figure out the fuel, then bring the car. They realize that, look, India is a very small market. If we see Uber's global quarterly mobility revenue, 69% of Uber's global revenue, quarterly revenue, comes from one continent, which is North America. And if I add North and South America, between 75% of Uber's global revenue comes from two continents. APAC region contributes about 13 to 14% of global revenue for Uber. India contributes 2.5%.
That's it.
Less than that. So it's a small market, and Uber decided principally not to invest in getting more cars or by giving out incentives to drivers. So that really took a beating for them.
But tell me this, you come from a family of entrepreneurs, like you're a third generation entrepreneur. How is it growing up in a family like that?
So I never was part of any of my family businesses,
Yeah.
and I still didn't know what to do with my life. And I went to Aston University in 2006 for my international business program. And while at these colleges, I had to write a dissertation. So the dissertation was on the energy space.
How old were you when you were doing
I
all this?
was 22 when I wrote that dissertation, and that's when I decided that
What is a dissertation? Is it like a research
thesis.
paper?
Yeah, it's a research paper.
So after college,
Yeah.
you came back to India
Yeah.
and you started a solar panel manufacturing company.
Correct.
What is it called?
Yeah, it was called PLG Power Limited.
Okay.
PLG, the initials of my grandfather, he passed away in 2007. So I named the first venture after his initials. So we set up a manufacturing facility in Nashik, which was spread across 7 acres of land, 200,000 square feet construction. We used to export solar panels made in India to Europe largely. The
Where did
markets
the
were...
initial capital come from for setting
The
up?
initial, we took bank borrowings and I put in the initial capital, borrowed from my friends and family, raised an equity round from friends
You did all of this in 21, 22 years.
in at the age of 23. Yeah.
You did all of this.
Yeah. So we went to the market to raise money because I didn't have the money. So we went to the market to raise money. It's called, equity round. So we raised money from friends and family and some notable small investors, and for the equity piece, and then raise the debt from
But how were you taken seriously? Because 21, 22, 23 years old, like why would they take you seriously?
I know it was very challenging, but yeah, that it is. I mean, you have to take yourself seriously. People will never take you seriously. The only person who can take you seriously yourself.
Yeah.
So we could raise some money, and we started manufacturing solar panels, and we made those panels. We achieved revenues of close to about 600 crores over 3.5, 4 years time. We saw, I think, about 10, 11 billion dollars being wiped out all of 2011, 12. With the solar manufacturing industry coming to a massive halt, and my company was a part of it. And obviously, we were manufacturing way too high quality panels. So we also at that time decided to shut shop.
So when it tanked, what happened then?
Yeah, I was like really hit with the capital edge. You can't imagine what went through. I got thyroid. It's something that happens here where so I got hypothyroidism and I put on close to about 40 kgs of weight. So my body swelled up
Okay.
and I was so stressed.
This is thyroid happened because of the
Stress.
How much was the financial loss?
Close to about nearly 100 crores.
This is your personal.
Yeah, and also the lenders and all, everybody took a haircut.
Yeah.
And then obviously but largely was mine. And all the profits. I had never taken any salary from the company.
Okay.
And never drawn any money from the company. Whatever profits we made, I had pulled back.
Went all in.
So I was all in, exactly. So when you're all in and all your eggs are in one basket, and when that basket explodes, obviously you're left with nothing.
So then net worth
that's a phrase.
Zero. Because
Zero. Negative, I think. It was really on the streets and
You at this point of time, you were probably 25, 26.
28, 27.
28, 27. And you are doing all of this crazy shit. Like you're going to Germany, Italy, selling, crores worth of solar panels. So obviously, you were on a high, right? Your ego also would have been very high. I'm so young. I'm going to be the next Bill Gates or whatever, right? So when that comes crashing down, your expectations are so high about your ambition. And then now it comes to zero. I'm sure that also would have really impacted you.
I think great learning. I think colleges don't teach you all this. What life experience teaches you, and this is what you don't learn at MBA colleges.
Yeah.
And obviously, it was a great learning experience. I think I still look back and pretty humbled by what happened to me, and met mentors like Mr. Kumaran Birla. I went to meet him. I met a lot of other mentors.
How did you have access to somebody?
I reached out to him.
You reached out?
Yeah, I reached out to him. I wrote to him an email, which I sent for 20 days and 20 emails.
How did you get
same subject?
How did you get his email?
That was online.
Okay.
And then I verified that by calling on the landline and then emailed. And I think some Mr. Venkat, I remember his name was Mr. Venkat Raman in full and short Venkat. And he picked up the phone and he called me. It was a weekend, I don't remember, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And he said, Mr. Punit Goyal. I said, yes. Can I have, and then his voice kindly became a little louder. Can I please tell you to stop emailing the same subject, same email 20 times? I said, my sincere apologies. He said, no, it's okay. Don't apologize. Every time you send an email, I have to print it out and place it to Mr. Birla to read it. And it's a process we follow. But yeah, towards the end, Mr. Birla would like to come and meet you. So please, can you come and meet Mr. Birla whenever convenient for you and for him? So he called. And when I met Mr. Birla, he said that every year, he's on the board of London Business School. He went to LBS for his MBA.
Yeah.
He went to Sydenham for his undergrad. So we are from the same college. And he said every year, Punit, Stanford, Wharton, Harvard, LBS, they have contingents who come to India. They write to me. And I'm a very shy, media shy person, Mr. Birla. And I don't want to meet people. And I always say no. You are the only one who sent me and followed up 21 times. And that made me meet you. And it's amazing that you have this follow-up. I think in India, a country like India, if you don't follow up, nothing happens. And your follow-up is fantastic. The way you have chased down me and my people, and that's the reason I'm meeting him, and I've considered doing this.
So what did he tell you when you're going through a difficult time?
Yeah, he said that, look, you should not be emotionally attached.
Okay.
You should be emotionally attached to your wife and to your children, but not to your business. And you should be mindful of the fact that opportunities come and go, and you have to be disciplined about them. If you can do something, do it very well. And if you can't do something, don't do it. And don't waste your time on it. Time is precious. The only thing that we have in our lives is time. It's the only finite resource. So whether it's for Punit Goyal or for Sharan or Bill Gates, the only common thing is that we all have 24 hours in a day.
Yeah.
And that was a key learning I had. And I realized that I was wasting time and not giving time to my health. So I prioritized that, and I really then first lost the weight, started another business, then the third business, and the fourth is now BluSmart. And
so now let's fast forward to today.
Yeah.
As to what you're doing, because today you're doing a lot of stuff which is impacting the whole country. The opportunity that lied was for Uber, India was only 2.5% of its entire revenue share.
Yeah.
And then the problem was India doesn't have a lot of high four-wheeler ownership.
Yeah.
40 per 1,000 people.
Correct.
Compared to US, it is 500, 600 per 1,000 people. Right?
Yeah.
How much is it? 600 per 1,000 people in the US.
It's more than 800 per 1,000.
800 per 1,000 people in the US. So the problem for Uber in India was that they had to put more cars on the fleet, and it was anyway not a big opportunity or a big market for Uber.
Yeah.
So that was the opportunity that you saw for you to enter into the game and launch something new.
So instead of depending on drivers to bring assets, we went to large institutions.
When you mean assets, you mean cars?
Cars. So we went to large institutions who had the ability and capability to invest in depreciating assets. While assets depreciate, we operate them and we make money. So we went to these large institutions who bought these cars lease the cars to us.
What do they get when they give you this
I mean,
money?
they get the financing cost.
So that's like
for
debt.
Debt. It's like debt.
What interest do they take?
I mean, that largely depends on the deal size. Could range anywhere between sub 10% to plus. It's 10 plus minus 2%. Could range from 8 to 12% depending on the deal that you're getting.
So you go to them, you raise money from them, use that money to buy the assets,
Cars,
vehicles,
correct.
and then as you make money out of these assets, you pay the interest.
Yeah, but the best part was creating massive upside for the driver. So the driver partner wants to enjoy a good quality of life. So we eased that stress. We removed the stress completely out of the driver partner. So we are trying to create equitable economic opportunities for driver partners without them to own any assets. So drivers don't own the cars. They stick to their core skill set of driving. And the drivers work for limited hours. They drive at finite speeds. So we kept a speed check on the car. The driver can drive for certain hours in the day at certain speed limits. The drivers can work certain hours in a day. They were really overworked on the other two platforms.
Correct.
They were asset owners. So they really had to work extremely hard to pay for the debt they took. Their financing cost is twice the financing cost of BluSmart. Today, a driver walks into to borrow money. I'm sure they won't get money below 18% or 20%.
No, but if I go for get a car loan, I can get it for 8-9% interest.
You can, but not a driver who's not from the same background. Drivers come from villages. Their credit scores are not really so good.
For them, it's 18% interest.
It's high on the higher side because the risk is more. Somebody's taking a risk on. The risk is much higher.
Wow. So just to summarize, the difference between the traditional, the existing incumbents, Uber and Ola, in the driver experience compared to BluSmart's driver experience is that in Uber and Ola, the driver has to buy the vehicle himself.
Correct.
Interest rates are very high, 18-20%, due to which they have to work harder, much longer hours to pay back that money,
Correct.
right? Versus in your case, your drivers don't own the vehicles. You guys manage the vehicle. So the working conditions are better. There is fixed working hours and all of that, right?
And the fuel cost curve, which has gone up of petrol, diesel, and CNG, it's become almost 2.5 times the cost in the last 5 years. Nobody knew that. Uber didn't know that, or nobody knew that, right? So India largely imports fuel, crude oil. 85% of our oil is imported. And nobody factored that there'll be another headwind. So headwind one we spoke about was high financing cost.
Yeah.
Driver's ability to bring only one car per driver. A driver can't bring in thousands of cars. He or she can only bring in one car, right?
Correct.
That's
a supply problem.
Yeah. That too, the cost of financing is high.
Yeah.
Then being only a platform player, the ability to extract more and more cars will be very challenging. To get 40,000 cars, you'll have to get 40,000 drivers having the ability to buy 40,000 cars, right? And second challenge was the fuel cost going up. These two headwinds really, and post the pandemic, that was nail in the coffin.
When you mean headwind, you mean things which are affecting the business, right?
On the consumer side, again, we saw a big challenge. A challenge that we see on Uber, because the supply side is so painful.
Consumer side, you mean people who want to travel?
Yeah. The supply side is so painful. The driver has already gone through so much of pain.
Yeah.
Now he or she is really not bothered about customer experience.
Can I say the customer problems which I face?
Yeah.
One is waiting time. I don't want to wait 20 minutes. Second is that the driver, the car is not clean, right? It is not well kept. It might be smelling. 3 is that the driver doesn't switch on the AC because it's hot in Mumbai. So these are the 3 main problems that I have.
And we wanted to address all of them. The biggest problem is ride cancellation. We believe that when you want to go to the airport and you have been patiently waiting for the car and you booked your car, despite that the car didn't turn up and you having waited for time, and then you're going to miss your flight, right? So ride denial is a huge challenge which was there, and we wanted to address that. We want to take the bull by the horn and said, okay, let's
have stats
address
on what percentage of rides are cancelled on
50%,
Uber and Ola?
50%.
50% rides are cancelled?
Yeah, at peak times.
And Uber and Ola?
On Uber's platform, Uber only makes you see the car which is next door to you. The driver decides whether he or she wants to accept that ride or not.
Correct.
On the BluSmart platform, it's a full stack ride-hailing service. If the customer books a ride, he or she gets the ride. The driver has no ability to deny the ride. The driver is assigned a customer ride. A driver has to go finish that ride. Second thing, we said that, look, the prices also should not vary so much. You should have some kind of idea that this should be the price. We don't believe in absolute surge pricing. Like the price should not shoot up 30%, 40%, 50% in just during the peak times. That should not happen.
I once paid like 400 rupees for a 4-kilometer ride.
Yeah, so that should not happen, and let's kind of give a complete transparency to the consumer. So on the BluSmart app, the customer can see what is the pricing mentioned per kilometer. the customer knows what he or she has to pay. The customers loved us. The drivers opened the door. The drivers are wearing a BluSmart
Drivers
uniform.
open the door also.
Yeah. The drivers are wearing the BluSmart uniform. It's a very different, calming experience. When you sit in BluSmart, the drivers are not haggling around. They are peaceful. They're, they mind their own business. It's a really good experience. And this is the kind of experience we get on Uber in the West also. If you use a Uber in London,
Even
or
Dubai.
Uber in Dubai, or Uber in New York, or Uber in SF, or in Palo Alto, you get similar experience. In India, it was really badly hit because of several issues we mentioned. Then we chose electric cars because we knew that the fuel cost is to our advantage. The operating cost of an electric vehicle is very low. The cost of electricity has been stable for the last many years. If we use that to our advantage by running EVs on the ride hailing, we can actually make money.
So now you operate in two key areas right now, BluSmart, Delhi and Bangalore.
Correct.
Because you identified that Delhi and Bangalore is like almost 50-60% of the entire mobility market.
45% of India's ride hailing and mobility markets. So Delhi alone is today about a quarter of India's entire ride hailing and mobility market. Delhi NCR, Delhi National Capital Region today has a population base of upwards of 70 million people or 72 million people. It's a
7.2 crore people.
7.2 crore people. It's a country. It's not a city.
Yeah.
I mean, Spain's population is 46 million. Ukraine's population is 44 million. You can fit almost 2 times or 1.8 times those countries in that geography. Is massive.
Yeah.
Noida, Greater Noida, Faridabad, Ghaziabad, Sonipat, Gurgaon, Delhi. It's a huge national capital region.
And the opportunity would be mostly the rides going to the airport, right?
Yeah, everywhere. And inter-sister cities also. So from Delhi to Noida, Delhi to Gurgaon, Delhi to Faridabad, that and the airport rides. So city rides and airport rides. So
Delhi is 25%.
Yeah.
And then
if you add Bangalore, which is again India's second largest mobility market, and also you see the airports. The Delhi airport today is the top 10 airports in the world. Nearly 70 plus million people travel to the Delhi airport. If I add the Bangalore airport, about 45 million people travel to the Bangalore airport. Between Delhi and Bangalore,
this is in a year.
115 million people annually transit through these two airports, right? So two of the largest airports of India, two of the largest mobility markets of India, two of the largest transportation markets of India. So we chose these two markets for strategic reasons. And nearly, like you said, 45-50% of India's mobility, transportation, aviation markets are in these two cities.
So let's look at Bangalore, right? Because you understand mobility very well, you understand the moving parts very well. If you had to solve the Bangalore traffic, how would you do it?
I think Bangalore has a lot of two-wheelers, and I think they cause a lot of congestion in the city. I think, my learnings, if you see London or New York, for example, they've invested in very good public transportation. So I think more buses, more cabs, more metro routes, if public transportation is easily available and good quality public transport is available, a lot of people will not take their own cars out. That will considerably reduce the congestion. So lack of parking spaces. Bangalore has a massive challenge around parking infrastructure. Parking is not available. Cars are stranded on the road. We are of the opinion that in the next 20-30 years, to decongest cities like Delhi NCR and Bangalore, the government and the people will realize that you have to have good quality public transportation available. Like in London, for that matter, you see a lot of people, the Brits, they don't use their own car. They take a tube, or they take the London bus, or they walk it up, metro, or they walk it up, or they take a cab. But I think the number of people who own cars in London is less, and even they don't get in the city because the public transportation is world class, and the infrastructure to walk is also amazing. Some distances you end up walking. Our cities were not designed for walking, so distances in Bangalore are a lot. You can't obviously walk such long distances in the heat, in the climate we have. Then the fallback option is good. Public transportation option. This is what we are trying to do. I think BluSmart has an amazing and unique opportunity to really fill in the shoes and become a bankable, world-class public transportation company and provide really high-quality consumer experience to all types of customers in Delhi NCR and Bangalore.
So electric vehicles is one piece of the puzzle. But what about the charging infrastructure? Because there's not many electric vehicle charging stations that I see here.
Absolutely right.
Like, how do you solve that problem?
So we knew from day one when we were building out BluSmart that while we are solving the ride-hailing challenge on the mobility side, this is built on the premise, the bedrock is charging infrastructure business. So till we don't build the bedrock, we can't scale. So we are building an energy, infrastructure and mobility company in alphabetical order. Today, BluSmart operates about 36 EV charging hubs and super hubs.
One hub can charge how many cars?
So a normal hub can park, by definition, normal hub can park and charge about 100 cars. That's a small hubs. Our super hubs today can park and charge between 200 to 400 cars at one location. So each hub could be a size of 30,000 to 40,000 square feet on the lower side to about 160,000 square feet on the higher side.
How are you getting spaces for these charging houses?
By partnering with real estate companies, by shopping malls, complexes where people work.
Would it make sense for somebody operating a petrol pump to convert that into a EV charging station?
This is what is going to happen.
Similar money?
This is exactly what is going to happen over the next 10-15 years. All these petrol pumps are at prime locations.
Yes, they're already in the right
location. This is why people go to them.
Correct.
And they all can be converted to charging stations. But the size of those pumps are small. So you can build maybe 5 or 10 max. We are getting space now allocated closer to those pumps or similar spaces, trying to whichever empty spaces are in the city we're trying to find, and building out even bigger hubs. We build out charging infra, we bring our cars achieve optimum utilization. So then BluSmart technology stack comes in and says, okay, now the cars and chargers, they're two different problems.
Yeah.
We are not building businesses on silos. We are building an integrated business model. So our charging infra has to communicate with cars and cars have to communicate with the charging infra via technology. So we monitor the real-time state of charge of each car. Once the car is dispatched from the charging hub, the SOC or the state of charge of the asset of the car is tracked is 100%. When the car has finished multiple trips, the state of charge SOC has dropped. Now that car needs to come back to the hub. To that hub or to the closest hub. The technology layer, BluSmart tech stack, is monitoring the real-time SOC or the real-time state of charge of each car on real-time basis, then diverts or moves the car to the closest charging infra there. It's akin to how airline industry works. When you take off from the Delhi airport and you're flying and the ATC and the operator Indigo is tracking the fuel or at the height at which you are flying. If you have any problem, the ATC comes in and diverts you to the closest airport to bring you down. You don't need to go back to the same airport, right?
Correct.
So the technology layer comes in, it takes you back to the closest charging infra. In the Uber world or in the Ola world, which are purely aggregators, they have no control over the fuel in the car, neither they have tracking, neither the cars report the fuel to the Uber. So Uber has zilch nada idea about what the fuel content in the car is, how much fuel is there, where the car needs to go. After completing the ride, will the car go offline? Uber has no idea. In our case, we are in full control at any given point of time of all our assets, where they're in the city at that time. We can always get them back, get them on the road multiple times. So this complete control only is possible if we are vertically integrated. Hence, we had to build the energy infrastructure and mobility company to have complete control over energy side of the business and the mobility side of the business. The charging infra initially is to support the BluSmart cars growth.
Yeah.
The BluSmart cars are also supporting the adoption or investment in charging infra. But tomorrow, we open the charging infra for everyone. So BluSmart charging hubs will serve everybody, our competition or our own cars and or individual. Vehicles. That is when the charging infra business makes tons of money.
So to open a charging infrastructure, what is the amount of money that I would need and what sort of money income I can generate?
I think charging stations, you don't need much money if you want to build out a charging station or two. The investment is between 2.5 to 5 lakhs for a small setup of building out 1 or 2 charging stations. That is what a lot of companies are doing on siloed principles. But we somehow have a bigger thought process, grander vision. So we're building out these hubs which require investments of close to about $400,000 to $600,000 or nearly $500,000 on an average to build out each hub.
Okay.
That hub...
so maybe 3-4 crores to build one hub.
Yeah, dedicated hub.
One hub can charge like 40-50 cars at a time.
That hub can charge about 180 to 200 cars at a given time.
Okay, so I need 4 to 5 crores to set it up.
Yeah, and that hub can park and charge dedicated fleets for individual cars also.
What is the money I can generate in a monthly basis?
Yeah, so the returns are pretty good. The more you churn out is based on churn.
Yeah.
But your payback is around 4 to 5 years.
4 to 5 years, I will make that money back.
Yeah.
And then after that, so that's basically in a year, I'm making like 1 crore.
Yeah.
With the charging station. Yeah. So that's again 15% or 17% IRR. Nice. What other opportunities do you see for young entrepreneurs today to enter into this mobility space, solving mobility problems? You are solving mobility problem with a very grander vision.
Yeah.
If I had to find out small vacuums of problems that can still be
I
solved?
think
What
EV
are
financing is a huge opportunity.
Huh.
As more and more EVs will come in play, I see now startups are coming up, individuals also investing in EVs.
But banks are there, no, for financing.
Banks are there, but even NBFCs, individual corporate houses. For example, we launched this program called BluSmart Assure. Because we are now getting cars from such massive leasing institutions, we also now created a product. We have just launched a product where individuals or family offices or HNIs or large HNIs, suppose you are an HNI, you to claim depreciation in your business, you give me that laughter. You can invest in cars and deploy on the BluSmart platform. So we offer today 14% pre-tax IRR to the investor. Plus you have 40% depreciation. So you can enjoy 14% pre-tax IRR. For 40% depreciation, so your overall returns can increase. And if you are a business or
wait. So you're saying if I want to invest,
you can
I
buy
can
a
buy
car,
a car and give
put
it
on
to
the
you
BluSmart
guys.
platform.
Put it on the
Exactly.
BluSmart
Yeah,
platform.
and enjoy depreciation benefit also in claiming other businesses. And that's an additional thing that we have just launched right now, allowing everybody to be part of the BluSmart growth story.
Wow. Well, what other opportunities do you see in this
I think
space?
that's a good one. Then secondly, I think battery recycling. I think with so many batteries coming in play, second life of batteries will come in, but batteries can be used for second life. Battery recycling could be a huge opportunity. EV financing is a good opportunity. Manufacturing EVs is a huge opportunity. We see a lot of new companies. The two of the top 3 two-wheeler manufacturing companies in India are the traditional giants. New people have coming, Ola Electric or Ather Energy, Okinawa. Others are coming in who are manufacturing two-wheelers. I think.
Now do you take a salary? You mentioned first venture you didn't take salary.
Yeah, I did not, and it was learning, and I think seeing your videos, and I think it's amazing that one should know financial discipline. If you don't earn, you can't spend.
Yeah.
So the first 4 or 5 years of my life, I didn't draw salary. I now draw definitely a salary in BluSmart. Thanks to BluSmart. Getting a decent salary at least for decent living. And I think everybody should you should probably achieve some means, and I think that's the right thing. That's what you teach people, how to
So what is your investment strategy? How do you invest your money? Do you have a financial advisor? Do you do it yourself?
I think my financial advisor is my co-founder and my wife. They are my 2 financial advisors. They keep telling me where to invest or which I think the Indian market has done so well. So we have some exposure in the stock market, and my wife does it. And my co-founder does it, but I still am learning. I think something I should learn from you and watching your podcasts and videos.
But they also say that the most return on your money can be made in your entrepreneurial journey, in your business. So do you have like a thumb rule, like do you still go all in, or do you now like I'm going to keep this money aside for my personal wealth, where I will invest in traditional asset classes like equity, debt, gold, and this much amount of money I will just keep pumping back into the business? Do you have that kind of a framework?
I think all the money I had saved from the past I put back in BluSmart.
Okay.
So I've between me and Anmol, we have invested heavily in the
the
last 14. That's the only thing. That's my natural game. I can't change or maybe I should reinvent. But I believe that BluSmart can really do something phenomenal, something big. So we are going all in between Anmol and me. Whatever money we had saved up from our past businesses, we have pumped in BluSmart in the last 14 months. And we invest in every single round of the company. The last 3 rounds we have invested substantially. Wow. I think we believe we want to ride this equity wave of BluSmart.
Any 3 tips that you would like to give to young entrepreneurs in India today?
Yeah, I think do tons of research in whatever you want to do. Believe in yourself and stay resilient, and have all the perseverance with you. And there'll be good times and bad times. Just go.
And what is your advice for bad times?
And I think you should not really enjoy the good times so much and not feel about the bad times so much, because I think they both don't last for too long.
And do you see you guys coming on IPO anytime soon?
Yeah, I think it's a great IPO story. I don't know when. And my co-founder is IPO Maverick.
Because from what I've heard, I mean, very, very eager to invest whenever you guys.
A lot of consumers love us, and I think they will all participate in our IPO. And my co-founder was just trying to complete is an IPO Maverick. Gensol has given phenomenal returns to all investors, and I hope that
when can we see that?
The BluSmart IPO, I think probably in the next few years. I don't know when exactly, subject to board approvals and consensus. But yeah, whenever it'll happen, it'll be a fantastic one.
And finally, maybe last one question is, how would you like to be remembered in terms of your value addition or contribution in BluSmart? Like, what would you like to be known as?
Hey, somebody who dedicated, built out projects for the country, which is dedication to the nation. Somebody who created a better tomorrow for all that's it.
Thank you so much, guys, for watching till the end. I think this was a separate business class on how to evaluate the EV industry and what's going to come in the near future. I personally learned a lot about the EV industry. I'm very, very hopeful about the future. And thank you so much for agreeing to talk about what you're building, and you're truly doing, the good work of the nation.
Thank you
so
Sharan.
much.
Thank you.